Alright, Diablo 4 players, let's talk about what's new in the brand new expansion that we kind of got a glimpse at from a bunch of the live streams. I'm using Rax's gameplay content, so shoutouts to him. I'll leave the full video down below, but it's just going to be background gameplay for, of course, the Spiritborn. So here is the scale of the new area in the bottom left. Keep in mind, we didn't have access to the full campaign, so there probably are going to be other areas or maybe some other zones that are just for the campaign that might not be revealed here. So in terms of the size of the map for the expansion here, it almost looks like maybe a little bit over the size of one like region in the game. So if that gives you an idea on how big the game is, well, that's what we're looking at. Again, keep in mind, we don't have access to everything, so there may be some other areas, because I don't know where these raids are going to be taking place, as that was one of the leaked files. That was not really shown off in the gameplay. In fact, we're going to go over these kind of rapid fire, but this is basically going to be everything that you need to know about the new expansion. So what does the new class use? The Spiritborn. So the Spiritborn is going to be using a thing called a glaive, or the staff. They call it the quarterstaff. I don't know if it's like different, but you guys can see kind of how the item works. You can see the attacks per second on it. On top of that, you guys can see a aspect. We'll go more in depth on that maybe in another video. But anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of the stats. I guess Vigor or Vigor is going to be some sort of a resource over here. And then on top of that, this is where the character like login, I guess, was used in here. You can see the different character icons, but just showing you guys like the character and kind of what the Spiritborn actually looks like. The art style is almost in between, I would say, some sort of like monk slash a witch doctor, because there's some elements where like there are these like claws that genuinely look like they were designed for some sort of like fighter melee class, as this class can do punches as well. Now, as far as like the map goes, I was checking out kind of if there was anything new to do in the game, and it looks like it's more of the same. A lot of the gameplay content was kind of dungeons. Keep in mind, there's probably going to be a lot more cooler things that we'll see that are more related to the campaign, but there were some newer things in the game, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So here's a quarterstaff. You can see that there's actually a block chance as well as damage that you can have that is getting some sort of block damage reduction on it, and you can see there are multiple gems. Also, if you're wondering what is this class's main stat, I believe it is going to be dexterity. Next up over here, we have another item. This PH stands for placeholder, but basically the build that I think has the most potential at the moment with this build is actually going to be a Thorns build. I mean, look at this stat on this. This is crazy. When you dodge or block an attack you trigger, you get to up to 700% of Thorns attack against the attacker. That is crazy amounts, especially since Razorplate is already pretty strong, and there's a certain thing that you can get with the character that makes it so all of your Thorns is applied on every single attack. It is going to be crazy. That's probably going to need to get nerfed, I'm going to be honest. But if it comes out in the state, if you're wondering what's the best build, heck, players are already making builds, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But this is another thing that I thought was kind of cool. I'm not sure how often we're going to be doing this, but I know the screen looks like we're in space over here. But how it works is you have this like lantern, and you have to kind of find your way forward. There may be some other things that are related to raids or other things that we will see later down the line, but I like the idea of just something new in the game where you have to kind of follow the lantern or get the light or something like that. It's just a newer way to play the game. That's like the only thing that I saw at the moment that was like kind of newer that I wanted to bring to the table. But on top of that, one thing that is really cool is we are getting the entire skill tree. Now keep in mind, things will change. I'm not going to make this video based on like me mousing over all of them. I'll leave it down below. I'll probably make a video dedicated towards this, because this could be like a 20-minute video on its own, talking about theory crafting and what's the best thing. But keep in mind, these things are probably going to be changing, but I'll still do it for the sake of doing it. There's also another really good post over here that goes over all of the skills, and like you can see the gameplay of any of the skills, which is awesome. I mean, D4 builds just really nailed it here, and they talk more about the different kind of like the specializations. So how it works is basically you have these different spirits. It's almost kind of reminds me of the Druid here, but how it works is your skills will count as eagle skills or jaguar or gorilla or centipede. So centipede's more about poison. Gorilla has some sort of thorn stuff in it. I'm not sure where I would categorize the jaguar, but the eagle looks like it has some sort of like flight, like wing range mobility. I actually think the eagle looks really cool, and gorilla, but you can kind of mix and match some of the skills, which is cool. But another thing is the uniques over here. I think that this is kind of cool. You can see these are some uniques. So we have Ring of the Gorilla, which gives you generates some sort of vigor each time you deal some thorns damage, and you gain Toxic Skin's passive effect, which I believe is some sort of like if the enemy hits you, they take some poison damage, therefore they're affected by poison. We have DR from poison, like damage reduction. And then we have Scorn of the Earth, so Soar deals more damage. I believe this is some sort of ability skill, and then our Evade becomes Soar. So it's kind of like, think of like the Sorceress thing. So these are some boots. The first one was a ring. We also have Harmony, which is your skills are all skills. So your skills are now all skills, so they count as everything. This is huge. Like, imagine Druid, all skills are now Werebear, Werewolf, like Lightning. Like, this is actually insane. I wish Druid got this thing. This thing just screams that it needs to come out for the Druid as well. But then on top of that, it's based on your secondary Spirit Hall choice. Each spirit type on a skill increases its damage by 50%. Then we have some new pants that make it so while moving, you gain a huge amount of dodge, 15 to 30%. If this like works the way it should work, which is basically just like flat and it doesn't like take any diminishing returns, this is insane. And then on top of that, well, if you stand still, you get to become unstoppable. So if you're fighting a boss and there's some sort of mechanic that pushes you away, I mean, you're just straight up unstoppable for standing still. Then we have a quarterstaff over here that makes it so it's going to give you your basic skills deal a huge amount of increased damage and always use their third attack. The third attack maybe like applies like a bonus. This class is honestly almost designed like Monk. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they originally were designing a Monk and then just moved a bunch of the stuff to this class, because the way it's designed, if you play Diablo 3, like the Monk, on every third attack it gets something special. So it looks like they're kind of doing that with this as well. But there's a bunch of the Tebring manuals. I'm not going to go in depth on all of these. There's a bunch of the different aspects. If you guys want to like pause, screenshot, whatever, I can make this a little bit bigger so you guys that are maybe mobile here aren't going to be completely, going blind over here. But here's a bunch of different aspects over here. I'm not going to say which one's the best. Keep in mind all these things could be changed and stuff, but I'll at least scroll through them so you guys can kind of see them as they may apply to other classes as well. I mean, look at this one over here. Okay, this one says Spiritborn, but your skills cooldowns are 10 to 40% faster while moving, especially if some of these skills can be activated while you move. That can actually be really, really good. But in addition to that, I also wanted to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way because I have a bunch of other notes that I took while I was watching a bunch of the live streams from a bunch of different streamers here. And I want to go over these rapid fire really quick because the whole point of this video is everything to know. So if you are interested in playing the brand new class, you can be male or female. It's not like Diablo 2 where like if you want to be a Sorc, you had to be a girl, right? You can play a male or female. The Armory loadouts, that's going to be a nope for now, but they hear you. Basically, my guess is they probably don't want to announce anything because they're working on it, and if it doesn't come out in the next season, people will be mad. But I know that they're definitely aware of that. As far as getting extra stash space, then basically no. Sometimes, by the way, like when I was watching these, they would kind of like, oh, well, we understand you guys want this, and it's a hard system. I wish they would just say, no extra stash space right now. It's too hard. That's like all I needed to hear. No auction house, which I was kind of disappointed. There is some sort of like ways that you can purchase with some other currency. I'm not sure how that's going to be working, to be honest, but that was another thing. I'm going to go fast forward to hopefully some more gameplay over here via Raxxanterax. Again, shout out to him. I'll leave the link to the video. Just wanted something in the background. As far as loot filters, nope, not coming into the game. I feel like this is a very basic thing. Like, I want loot filters in my action RPG. I don't know why they're so against it, but next up, no sets. Now, what's interesting with sets is they did say that it's divided at team level. So maybe some people that are working on the game want sets, some people don't want it. Here's my feedback as a Diablo partner, and I want to know your guys' feedback. Just don't make it a 6-piece set where you have to run all basically everything. Maybe a 2-piece set or 3 or even 4 could be good, because this way you still have some variety in the game versus you running a full 6-piece set. But another thing that you could do is you could make sets good, but also make non-sets good, because in Diablo 3, how it largely became in terms of the endgame was like, you pick your 6-piece set and that is your build. Now, I'm not going to be opposed to just having 6-piece sets, but I think that it'd be cool to not only have set items be viable, but also non-sets. And heck, maybe you can mix and match, 2 pieces of this set, 4 pieces of this set, and you can make some kind of cool hybrid build. But at the end of the day, I always think more content is better than no content. I don't know if you guys played Last Epoch, but the sets are not good in that game. And, you know, maybe it doesn't have to be good, but maybe just some sort of niche way to play something else could be still better than nothing. There's no new gems that were shown. There are no new rune words that got revealed. All the gameplay, by the way, was like early level. I believe 30 was the most that you can hit in the gameplay. In fact, all of it was 30. They just had like pre-made characters for you to go ahead and mess around with. No rune words. They didn't really talk too much about the mercenary system, which is kind of like something I really wanted to know. I wanted to know, are they going to be Diablo 2 mercenaries where they can actually solo endgame content, or is it like Diablo 3 where they just tickle and they're just used for utility? They said that they can complement the characters. That's too vague for me. But they said they can tank, so my guess is it'll be okay to tank with, but don't expect it to be able to maybe one-shot everything. And, like, you know, I don't expect things to really one-shot, but I still want it to be, like, a viable thing, so they actually feel like they are worthy of investing in, like, building, right? So if it's another extension of your character, like in Diablo 3, where you can still emanate, I still think it's better. I like the idea. And you know what was really interesting? They actually said in the live stream, this was actually on Raxx's. I took a lot of this feedback from this info is from like a lot of content creators here. I kind of just try to sum it up in one video. But they actually said more people play solo than in a group in Diablo 4, which is weird because this is an always online game. So I think the mercenary system is going to be cool. I'm really curious to see how that goes. But as far as like the gameplay and what it looked most similar to is Witch Doctor / Monk. So I don't think we're going to get any of those. There was nothing leaked in terms of like new classes because, you know, all the content creators are trying to like, yo, what's the next character? You know, what's coming out for the game? A lot of it was like, we can't talk about it right now. But they did say a holy class is now off the table. So my guess is some sort of Valkyrie. I want to say since this is already using like a glaive, a one-handed spear, I wouldn't put that one off the table. If you guys remember, there was a leaked artwork and then that got removed off of a website. And so it could have been some early iterations of what was to be the Valkyrie class, but maybe a Paladin could be something on the table as well. There's no announcement for SSF. And then one thing that I thought was really cool that they kind of hinted towards was they want to maybe add more customization to characters in the creators. And I like that. I think that's a really cool system in the game where you get to like make your character. I don't know if any of you guys have tested out Diablo Immortal, but the character creator in Diablo Immortal is better than Diablo 4. And I think that it'd be cool to be able to have all these different sliders, even though you may not see like the adjustment of your eyes and stuff. I think the more customization to make our characters unique for screenshots or the loading screens, I think it's cool to kind of customize your character a little bit more. But of course, that's not going to really affect gameplay. But those are all the things that I kind of found out that I felt like were important, that I felt like you guys would want to know about the game. But if you guys have any other questions or other things that I missed out on, let me know down below and I can make an updated video. But that's basically everything that I could gather off of pretty much a lot of the live streams that I've been watching from Vessel of Hatred, the expansion, and the new class. But that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe, turn on the bell so you don't miss out on more Diablo and other gaming news. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.